Who's your
Yeah, no
all-star
reason to make
pick?
picks.
Who's your all-star of the season? That's what we're gonna do. Right there. Done deal.
Who's your
That's gonna be our third one.
all-star?
Who's the all-star of the
idea
season?
Obviously, it's Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Fucking hell.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Broken Shifter podcast live on whatever the
almost
fuck
forgot
we're
what it was
streaming
called.
on. So we are currently live from Virginia, Michigan, Illinois, and wherever the fuck Amp is from.
Somewhere up his ass and to the left.
We're going to be playing a little bit of Rocket League in the background, and Carbon will be hosting.
Yeah, so don't mind any any frustration you might hear under our breaths.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm Hurdon.
I'm Carbon.
I'm Caboose. I forgot how this shit
I'm Amp.
works. We had an off week and I forgot how all this fucking works. But we scored just
Caboose
now,
is
so
on
that's
the,
good.
Jumping the trigger there. So yeah, we
Jump
had
the
Kansas.
See, it's an off week. We all fucked up. He fucked up the
Apparently,
same.
yeah. Okay. So, we got Elmer Fudd over here. We got everything's going wrong. Okay. So
the
yeah,
hell
we had
did-
Kansas. Overall, it was a lot of good racing. Not much cautions until the end of stage 3, but like I said, it was a lot of good racing. Caboose, who are our stage winners and race winners?
Blaney, Larson, and then race winner Havoc. That didn't quite come out as I was hoping.
You're supposed to sound like you're a cat, like trying to
That was a good shot.
get your,
Like a fucking hairball come out.
hairball out.
Fucking got
Havoc went back
emphysema.
to Cad and the ad.
I
Alright.
tried to get you back in here.
So
but
just-
it just didn't.
Thank you first. So.
It's alright.
Just-
We'll pick
just
you up.
speak
Start
over
this
him.
really weird podcast.
We're
So
trying to change it up. We're
we-
trying to get views. God dang it.
Yeah. So we had Larson. I guess we'll start in stage 2 right now, or part of stage 2. Larson probably had one of the fastest cars.
Especially on the
Granted,
outside.
he got penalized at the end, but
Hey, them windows, man.
Yeah, he started
Maybe window cheating.
dead last or something like that, somewhere in the very back because of a penalty after because he wrecked in qualifying.
He spun.
Or
No,
not
he
wrecked.
didn't wreck. He just spun.
Yeah, he spun. And he ended up making his way all the way up to the front by the end of stage 2. And I did say kill him when we were watching the, or I don't think we weren't watching qualifying together, but I did say Larson has a really fast car because he spun at qualifying. So I know he's going to be fast. That's why I threw him
He
in
always
my
pushes the
NASCAR
limits, though.
fantasy votes. Yeah, I'd say he's probably one of the most talented drivers out there. Not
He is,
Not
and he's
wisdom
more
one,
willing
like
to push it further
Kyle
than
Busch.
anybody else.
Kyle Busch is definitely the most talented, mixed with the most
Experience.
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 And then
I
Havoc
think
is
Larson's
just driving
probably
like a
the-
badass.
Just most talented driver out there in terms of
Yeah.
what he's bringing right now in comparison. Like you can see it. He's just making stupid mistakes.
I think
decisions.
Harvick is winning via the fact that he can take all of his knowledge. Because Kyle Busch knows these tracks, but Harvick knows them better. He's been around longer. And Harvick, he's like, at Phoenix, I know where to run. This track, I know where to run. Because Harvick doesn't get that aggressive until somebody does him off.
It's rare for Harvick to overrun the car.
That's why they call him Happy.
The closer.
He can really take care of a car. Kyle Busch cannot. And Kyle Larson, once he learns how to do it, he definitely will be a premier
Kyle Busch
player.
takes care of the car. Or are you talking about Larson? Is what you meant to say?
Well, Kyle Busch will drive the shit out of the car if he thinks he can get the
Yeah.
lead.
Or
Kyle
if he's
Larson
angry.
can't,
just drives the
he's
shit
just
out of the car nonstop all the
Larson
If
time.
he's
just-
angry,
yeah.
he will drive the shit out of it.
Yeah. And then Larson just drives the hell out of it. And that's just
It's
from
funny,
the dirt
actually.
track,
It's
I
really
mean.
funny.
That's what you do at the dirt track.
When Kyle Busch, I've noticed when Kyle Busch wins, the next few races, he doesn't race as aggressive. He races calmer. He races
Patiently?
more like clean, patient, and then he gets more wins.
Yeah, In the instant somebody
funny.
pisses him off, he starts losing.
Mm-hmm.
His
That's
attitude
Kyle.
is what probably makes him lose a lot of races.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say Kyle Busch is an emotion-driven driver.
Yes.
Completely agree with that.
That's putting it lightly. Sometimes.
Which, in some scenarios, is not a bad thing. In other scenarios, it is the worst fucking thing you can ever have as a team
Yeah.
owner or car owner or anything like that.
Like, if you look back to, like, somebody like Dale Sr., you're going to see an emotionally driven driver that knows how to stay calm. With Kyle Busch, he lets the rage get a hold of him.
He basically becomes a fucked up version of the Hulk with man tits.
And double chin.
What is it? We're going to have to edit that one out.
No, fuck no. No holds barred. This is live, god dang it, unless you're on YouTube, and then the only bits edited
Broken
is
Shifter
the very beginning.
Podcast, uncensored.
Yeah.
All right, so
Full of
then
man tits.
we'll move on to our first caution. Technically, our third caution, whatever it was.
Third.
First one
but it
that
was the
counts.
first official caution.
First car incident.
Suarez ended up getting a little loose, hit the wall, collides with Bowman. This brought out the first caution, which did have quite a bit of an impact on the race.
Severe impact.
Larson, I think, was in the lead at this time, but that gave Harvick a chance to get back up there again. It gave a bunch of people a chance. And then the pitting strategy got really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that happened, pretty much everybody was racing really close. It was between Harvick and somebody at the front. I think Truex or something like that. And
Wasn't it Blaney at the time?
Larson and Blaney. Were
Blaney
racing
was
really
up there a
close.
lot. So
Logano.
was Harvick
Yeah, because
up there
Truex
a
was in
lot.
front of Larson, so it was Logano. Yeah, that's what
I'll
it was.
take it.
Logano and Larson were racing really close, and eventually Larson and Blaney started racing really close, and Blaney ended up coming up to side draft Larson, and Larson came down as well. I think to side draft or to run his line or whatever. Maybe he got loose. I'm not really sure what happened. He only came down a little bit. Blaney hit him, bounced off of him, went back into him again. Larson had a little bit of fender damage, a bit of a tire rub, but he was able to get it sorted out in the pits. Blaney, on the other hand, smashed into the wall, took himself out. It was unnecessary, I guess.
He's still young and he's learning, which is kind of the big thing. Blaney and Larson probably, and Chase Elliott. Those are the three big talents right now, by far.
I do want to point something out.
You can't deny it.
These young guns do not know how to take each other out.
They keep taking themselves out.
Exactly.
The one thing I do like about, especially Blaney, Chase, even Ricky Stenhouse, and Larson, not so much. They're willing to put the bumper to people, and that's something we haven't seen in recent years. So, it's a nice refresher for NASCAR.
Aggression.
And the problem is,
For the next
Dale
year.
Jr. leaves, Tony Stewart leaves, Jeff Gordon leaves, all the fans leave. We're having some of the best racing we've had in 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So after Caboose completes some editing magic right here, we had Caboose's Rocket League crashed, so the stream crashed as well. Anyways, what we were talking about was the young guns and how they're doing. I don't remember specifically what everyone's saying.
They're
We'll just take
racing
it from
more
the top.
Old school than
Yeah.
they're racing more
You-
old school than they
I have
are
a question,
Jimmy Johnson
actually.
style.
I have a question to pose. Do you guys think Larson, Chase, and Blaney are going to be essentially the next Tony Stewart or Dale Jr., or do you think they're going to be more like Kyle Busch or Harvick, where Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart sort of just kind of stopped winning for a while there? They had a really bad downtime.
I don't see a whole lot of Dale Jr. in any of them except Chase, and that's only because the only thing I see in Chase is
Larson's
Dale
driving line.
Jr.-esque. No, Kyle Larson's driving line because Dale Jr. was a rim rider. The one thing I see from Chase is he's very patient with interviews.
I think Chase's plate track methods are also a little bit similar to Dale Jr.'s. I think he learned a little bit from Dale Jr. About that.
Out of anybody right now, I'm saying, as far as the Young Guns comparison, I'm seeing Dale Sr. out of Stenhouse at Talladega.
Play track.
Mainly. Yeah, plate tracks, definitely. I'm seeing a lot of Dale Sr. Not so much Dale Jr. Dale Jr. wants to get up there and lead, but Stenhouse is going to do anything and everything to get up there. And that's how Dale Sr.
Could you imagine if
won his
Stenhouse
last
was
race.
in, like,
good
JGR equipment or something like that? Like, just how dominant he'd probably be.
JGR,
Assuming
SAR,
that, I guess that's
Penske.
also assuming, though.
Yeah.
Assuming his equipment isn't
Oh,
actually
if he
good,
was
though, and
Penske,
they just don't
that'd be
know.
fucking scary.
I do feel like Roush
Stenhouse
is
has
giving
the drive.
Stenhouse the better car out of the two cars, but yeah,
Oh, easily.
still not great.
Now that they have Mac, I wouldn't say the better car. I would say the better crew. Like, and I'm not just talking about the crew that comes over the wall. I'm talking about the crew that builds the car and everything. Like, it sets it up for them. You know,
The better
I think
car.
that's more.
I think the other part is I think they just
it
know
is a
how
better
to set up a car
car.
for him though as well. I think they're just they've got it all figured
But
out.
see,
as
this is
the big
this is
key
the weird
aspect.
thing is we're seeing Ricky Stenhouse perform well at tracks like Bristol and Dover, whereas when he was in the Nationwide Series, I think it was a Nationwide Series at the time, he won back championships. He was winning at cookie cutter tracks.
1.5 milers.
And the equipment he has right now is not going to do that. But he's staying on the lead lap and performing at a much higher level than I think any of us expected. We thought those 2 wins last year at plate tracks were a fluke. I am starting to think they're not.
No,
Either
I also
Roush
think
has
with-
something figured out, or I don't
The real
know.
question: what's going to happen with the Mustang, though?
That's
I
a
wonder
very
how these
good
teams are
question.
going to cope with that.
Hopefully
change
it's
is
not
not-
as big as.
It's not
Struggles.
boded very well right now.
God.
Yeah.
No,
and
it's
the new
not.
They're
Camry changed
faster.
last year.
They're definitely faster, but they're not.
They're
not-
faster
they haven't got
anywhere
the front
but
cars
mile
figured
and a
out
half.
yet. So
They're fast anywhere
Faster.
but in the corners. They just don't have the
Right.
turn in at all.
Their chassis is where they're missing.
Yep.
It's not a lack of speed.
Because straight line, they're actually outrunning everybody in a straight line. It's just
Oh,
in
when
the
they get to
corners.
Michigan and Pocono, we'll find out who has the speed.
Yeah.
Those are our big dogs for unrestricted tracks. Michigan, Pocono, and the chassis. I don't know, man. It's tough. That was a very.
we'll
nice
find
job
out
by
in a
the guy,
couple
by the
weeks.
way.
all right, so final part of the race itself. In the very last lap, Truex managed to get passed by Harvick, and while they were under the white flag, Harvick ended up winning.
And we
the
all
race.
kind of assumed Truex was going to win that.
Yeah, Harvick ended up coming out
I
of
don't know
nowhere
about
and
that.
just his car was moving at the end. Oh, if you watch the timer, it wasn't until like the
Harvick
last 3 seconds
has been-
or the last 3 laps that Harvick's car just started going. Harvick just went okay full throttle. Before that,
You
he
got
was saving
Caboose.
the car.
I knew it was going to be
I
close.
think a lot of
didn't
people
know
at
who
the
was
end-
going to get it.
I think a lot of people at the end were watching Larson because he was creeping right back up there.
If there was about another 3, maybe 4 laps, Larson would have fucking got them.
Oh yeah, Larson had the fastest car of the day, and that leads us to the next point. Larson ended up getting an L1 penalty, so he wouldn't have had that win anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely correct. You get Joey Logano or
And-
Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
Cucumber.
And with the penalty,
You
penalties are getting more
did that
severe.
cucumbered win?
Caboose, you want to talk about
Somebody
the more
break up
severity
the
in the
cell.
penalties?
Yeah, so because of how prevalent I think that's the word I'm looking for. These window penalties have become. NASCAR's getting sick and tired of it. And before, if you got that penalty,
Downforce advantage.
that it's a lot of downforce to gain. But basically, it was. Fuck, you made me lose track of where the hell I was. Originally, it was a $5,000 penalty. I think it was to the crew chief or the car chief, one of the two. Car chief suspended for 2 races and docked 20 driver points, and then whatever points were made or wins were made through that race. Now it's a $75,000 penalty to one of the 2 guys I've mentioned, 40 driver point loss, and 3 race suspension for the car chief. And if this just continues, NASCAR is going to make it worse and worse and worse.
So basically, the kid gloves are off.
Yeah, they're getting sick and tired of
Yeah, they're not going to put up with it anymore. They're tired of teams because, let's face it, Jeff Gordon basically coasted on. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but finding a way to hit a rule that NASCAR didn't have covered already.
Yep. That's how he won his Daytona,
He's looking for the
500s.
loopholes.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
that's
really
what all
curious
NASCAR
about.
teams do. It's loopholes.
If
And when they find that loophole,
didn't have
they're gonna
any of
push
these
it.
Loopholes. I wonder what the race changed. How many people would that one wouldn't have won?
Yeah.
They weren't doing these.
Yeah.
A lot.
Would be an
see,
insane
if you go back
difference.
to like Richard Petty and Dale
Cheating
Senior,
and
you
racing,
look at Richard
yeah.
Petty. If you look at Richard Petty, you're going to sit there and you're going to go, hey, everybody knows he had the dominant car because he had the money. Nobody was running the equipment he had. You go to Dale
bad.
Senior, everybody was pretty much running the same shit at that point. Now, everybody is running what are supposed to be stock cars that aren't anywhere near stock cars.
Real quick, one thing to note about Richard Petty Hurdon is that he raced in an age where no one raced full time, and he was the only one that did. So he kinda had
Exactly.
he had a
Exactly.
major leg up in that
Mhm.
regard.
I think if everybody raced full time back there,
He would
Richard
not have
Petty
to anymore.
might have got 4. Well, I'm talking championship wise. He may have had 4.
But now the way these new cars are set up and so mechanically restrictive, the engineers have to get more and more creative now, since they can no longer give the driver what they want or what the driver needs. Hey, winner by forfeit. We are awesome. But now, because of those mechanical restrictions that we're facing, just they gotta cheat more than before. And it's just what we're facing.
Well, it's just like, and I can reference this, and Justin, aka Carvin, will kind of agree with me on this. I have a feeling it's people in football, they're looking for every way they can get an advantage. AKA, I know you love Tom Brady. Getting footballs deflated because of the weather to get grip. Do you think these teams aren't doing it?
Alleged.
It's proven they had text messages from it.
Yeah, makes sense.
But,
You're
you're-
always gonna have.
It
That's what
doesn't
racing
matter.
is. That's
Cheat
what
the
sports are.
You're not
I'm a Cubs
winning
fan.
if you're
Sammy
There's
not.
always
says
gonna be
he's the
cheating. There's
fucking
always gonna be
corked bat.
loopholes. Everything has a freaking
Everybody was
loophole
like,
anymore.
Everybody was like, what the fuck is a corked bat?
It's
Alright,
as simple as that. You're not winning if you're not cheating.
I mean,
And it's only cheating if you get caught.
that's exactly correct. It is only cheating if you get caught. Dale Senior came out and said that in one of his post-race interviews. And they were like, what do you think about these cheating accusations stuff? And he said, it's only cheating if you get caught. I mean, that's how I live my school life.
All right, moving on.
yeah,
before
just gonna
we
leave
have
that
some
fuck
other issues
alone.
Here. Okay, so this is normally the point where we do picks for the Charlotte race, but this we
Shut
did
up,
the
I was still
Charlotte
smart, fuck you.
All-Star. You shut up.
Are we making picks?
This is the Charlotte All-Star race, so we are going to do something a little different. Hurdon, what was your plans?
What's that?
You had some plans for the All-Star picks this time.
Oh no, my plans were we're not gonna pick a winner. We're gonna pick who we think has been the most improved driver and somebody we weren't expecting to see running near the front or actually impressing us, and somebody that is extremely underwhelming right now.
Basically, who's our all-star in the all-stars?
Who's the guy that you were like, man, that guy has really overperformed for the team he's on, and who's the guy that for the team he's on has really been a turd?
Alright, well, let's start with most improved. Hurdon, do you have any picks
Most
yet?
improved for me, considering equipment, would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah.
He's been running up a lot further than normal, and not just at plate tracks. Like Bristol, he had a fine showing, and he's somebody you see up there on a regular basis, especially because of the the paint scheme, the Sunny D paint scheme stands out.
It's hard to not see that thing.
I actually really like that paint scheme.
Very vibrant. Just like the drink.
I love it. Ricky Stenhouse,
Please
my most
sponsor us.
improved driver to this point. And for most underwhelming driver of the year and like the person that's falling back the most, for me it's got to be Jimmy Johnson. He's the worst driver at Hendrick right now, and that's not something you expect out of a 7-time champion. Wow, that was a hell of a shot.
Yeah. And usually, when a driver like that falls
It's 2 years
off,
running on
it's-
Jimmy.
Yeah. Usually when a driver of that caliber falls off, it's usually a nice progression, or a bad progression, I should say.
Yeah.
He just fucking fell off the fucking face of the planet. I will admit,
Hendrick in
Hendrick isn't
general
doing
did,
good.
but Byron, look at Byron, Bowman, and Chase are all doing perfectly fucking fine. They're able to run in the top 10. Jimmy is struggling to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, something you don't see in a championship caliber driver.
Nope. You're talking about somebody who's won, what, 9 times at Martinsville? And he can't even fucking take the lead for a little bit?
But anyway, back to the original topic: most improved or best performing
Yeah,
equipment,
Caboose.
or regardless of equipment. I'm gonna have to say Eric Almirola. He came out swinging. I know he was a decent driver prior, back when he was in the
different equipment.
nationwide series. But the better equipment gave him the nudge, and now seeing him actually be able to drive the wheels off of that thing,
He's doing
has
a good
really
job.
impressed me. Yeah, he's been in not so
I think
great equipment now for the last 4 years. He's been at Richard Petty. 3-4 years, something like that.
He's been in RPM for a while.
He's been there for a while.
Yeah. Definitely
Honestly.
wasn't a short period of time.
Yeah, I can't remember how long he was signed on for, but I just know
Yeah, he was there for a while.
for a while.
But no, he's had a nice bounce back year.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Stenhouse was just basically staying with the same team. But yeah, I'm impressed with Almirola and even Clint Boyer too.
Yep, he would have been my choice last year if we had done this
Right.
exact thing. Like I said, equipment helps,
And
but
your most
True driver.
underwhelming driver, the one that you expect to do well, that's just turding it up.
I'm in the same boat as you, old 7-time. I'm just, like I said, usually when someone falls off from being that big of a caliber of a driver, it's a gradual fall off.
Off of a
Not-
championship too.
Yeah. It basically, his driving ability status just got sparred and kicked into a fucking tunnel. Or into a hole of some sort.
You ain't fucking lying.
This is
Hit
NASCAR.
him, Israel. Dilly dilly.
Oh my god. I've never seen a driver fall off so fast. Just like go from dominant to nothing with the same equipment.
Yeah, like hell, when Tony
He's the
Stewart,
old guy Hendrick, and he's looking like it.
Yeah, like when Tony
How long
Stewart,
until they
when
OVLer him?
When he went out onto that 180 race losing streak or whatever it was, he had wins and he had good runs, but nothing stellar like what he had in 2011. Mind you, this is in
Next
2013.
year's Jimmy's last year, I'm calling it now.
Yeah, or hell, maybe even this last year. Might call it
Maybe
early,
this
but
year.
yeah, when Tony
I don't think
stopped
Hendrick's going to want to
winning,
lose a veteran.
it was a gradual thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy fell off the fucking face of the planet, and I feel
Yeah.
like he's gonna call Edwards the thing and go, "Sorry guys, I'm done. I'm done."
Hey, maybe they can put
That
Stenhouse in the
is-
48.
I mean, it's. I
Stenhouse
don't
ain't
think
leaving that.
Ford's going to
He
give
ain't leaving
Stenhouse
Ford.
up.
No, Ford won't, and Ford doesn't have
And
money,
Roush
probably,
won't
but
either.
they'll pay him more probably.
Who
but
knows? Maybe
Stenhouse
Bubba will
doesn't
go in that
wanna
48.
leave. And-
Bubba, for being in not so great equipment's actually been doing pretty alright.
Yeah, but he's still associated with Ford.
He's still.
Nope, he was
he's
let
still
go from
got
his
races,
contract.
though, his mile and a halfers that aren't doing so hot. But he's doing pretty good on the. It's kind of funny. Daryl is basically in. I know he's in a Chevy, but he's. But no, he's not in a Chevy, is he?
He's in
Yes,
a
he is.
He was
Yeah,
released from his contract.
He's
before,
basically in
and-
line right now. Yeah, he's basically in line with Chevy itself right now. Like Chevy is doing really good at the plate tracks and at the other
doing a lot of
random
short
assortment
tracks.
of tracks like
Short tracks.
Martinsville. Yeah, but at the mile and a half, the cookie cutters, things like that, nothing. They have no speed.
Chevy's got to get their shit figured out at fucking Richmond.
Mhm.
They're good at
Yep.
every short track but Richmond. And I don't
that's-
understand why. And they've been bad there for a long time. I mean, Chevy really struggles there. Ford and Toyota are just fucking crushing Richmond.
And we're starting to hit that point where Toyota started to pick up on the new body. So hopefully, Chevrolet will start picking it up.
Somebody wrecks Denny Hamlin next week.
He's gonna
That's it
fucking
out
hurt
loud.
himself.
We bring
Alrighty.
Danica
Yep.
back for one race for the All-Star race so she can wreck him.
Keep talking.
So, for my most improved, I'm going to actually have two. Most improved is going. Number one is going to be Paul Menard. You know, seeing as he's
Okay,
finally
fair.
coming out of the slump
Fair,
with
fair.
RCR equipment, and he's come alive, very much so. Since making the switch, he's fucking led laps. He
Got the
contended
Penske
for a
equipment.
win.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then my second most improved is also going to be with Penske, and it's going to be Ryan Blaney. Last year, you know, he was alive for some of that, some of the season, but he's come alive right out of the gate this year.
But every time he's got in a good car, he just fucking wrecks it. Or gets wrecked.
He's a little too aggressive. He's aggressive, but just gets a little too much sometimes.
Gets a little too penisy on the track.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. He's just getting too penisy.
All right.
Yeah. And then for my most disappointment, it's going to be MTJ. Granted, yes, he does have a win, but out of the dominant season that he had last year, kind of expect a little bit more from him this year.
I think that's actually
They
not
haven't
even
been-
Toyota though. I think it's just how dominant Ford's been.
Yeah, Kevin
How
Hart.
fast they've been.
Even then, he hasn't really
Last
been
year,
in the
Ford
top
wasn't
10,
fast.
or top 5, I should
Last
say.
year, Chevy wasn't fast. It was just Larson basically, and everyone else. Larson was pretty much the only real challenge Toyota had.
Really, yeah. Besides
just
Jimmy
so good
Johnson
last
at the
year.
very beginning of the season, Chase
This year, Toyota
Elliott.
as a whole has kind of fallen off.
Chase
Kyle
Elliott
Busch is still up there, but that's really about it.
still got that second place finish thing going.
Yeah,
He's
8
chasing
times
all
now.
these men.
He's tied up with his father.
He's gonna win a lot of races. He's gonna win a lot of races.
Yep. But I do want to point something out now, since it just hit me that Truex hasn't really been winning. He's got a win, and he's just been performing pretty decent. He's doing what Jimmy Johnson should have done after coming off his championship. Gradually started to fall off. not get Sparta kicked down a fucking hole.
Truex is still hovering around the top 5.
Exactly,
but
he's still hovering.
From what I've heard
but he's not
over
dominating.
what I'm hearing on the radio from his crew is that he's having major issues with the adjustments the crew is doing.
New crew, possibly.
I don't know. But that seems to be his big issue. Is every time he wants an adjustment, they're doing it ass backwards from what he wants. If he's cars tight in, then next thing you know, it's gonna be,
loose off. Still tight in, but loose off.
Yeah, they're not finding any middle ground whatsoever. So, yeah, I guess that'd be a good, nice 8-hour-long podcast, right? And absolutely none of us are looking forward to watching Charlotte. The only reason we're actually going to watch it is because they're actually using restrictor plates.
I mean, I watch all the races anyway, so you can...
Alright,
no, I'm really hoping, which we haven't actually talked much about the aero package.
Well, I guess we're skipping over mine. Okay, I will make picks then.
Go, yours don't matter.
I thought you went
matter.
first.
Go.
I thought you went
Purpose
first.
podcast, where opinions don't matter and everything's made up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, so my plan, assuming AMP was going to continue it, was to continue with the different most improved drivers, but then AMP decided to take 2, and one of them was mine. I was going to use Blaney.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to get interesting with it, so I can, even though I don't actually believe it, Blaney's still my number 1, but just to pick different. I want to mention Boyer. He has won a race. He has actually been placing in the top 10 quite often. Yeah, he's been very competitive. He's had 7 top 10s or something like that. And he's
racing very well.
I mean, how long was it? It was, what they say, 180 races or something like that?
About
since his last win.
Longest.
Yeah.
Next to Boyer.
Yeah, and this season he's doing really well. Ford's doing really well as a whole. That might fall off. I think I'm going to get interesting with this, despite the fact that he's I don't know, 6th or 7th in standings. And he's had a lot of top 5s and top 10s. He hasn't had a win yet. I'm going to say Denny Hamlin. He has been sneaking up there, but he just has not had the fastest car. He has not had a first place car at all. Not even a top 3 car. Hardly ever.
I would argue he hasn't had a first place car. I've just argued that his circumstances haven't gone his way.
Well, I mean, he's not
just
even
like that.
competitive up there. He's just kind of...
So,
He's just kind of sitting up there is all he's doing. He doesn't make a lot of passes.
Kind of like Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
But Denny Hamlin's not your typical 6 or 7 race a year winner.
No, but he just hasn't had a win yet at all. We're almost halfway through the season. He still hasn't even... I don't even think he's gotten a 2nd place yet. He hasn't had a chance at a win yet at all.
He's been close, and he's led laps. He's definitely led laps.
He's only led laps though off of
he
strategy
led
and
laps
stuff like that, coming out of
Martinsville,
caution.
Richmond.
Yeah, but only coming out of a caution, and then eventually he loses it once his car falls off because the car's just not there.
He's got his strikes. I tell you, if Toyota brings speed to Pocono, he'll be there, and you can bet Brad Keselowski will be right there with him, and so will Joey Logano. Penske's gonna come hard.
Currently, Hamlin has been irrelevant. So.
Yep.
I need to say that way.
I don't think we touched on this at all, but I just saw this
There's a few
article.
things we
Cup
haven't
teams
touched
are no longer. Yeah, Cup teams are no longer required to start on race qualifying start race on qualifying tires, and it'll start at the Coca-Cola 600.
Yep.
Okay,
Charlotte.
so they're on
next weekend.
They're gonna go on sticker tires from now on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and what they're going to be doing is they're bringing over their qualifying tires into their race set. So they're cutting out one set of tires completely and going, all right, you have a second set of tires, or an extra set of tires here, but it's your qualifying
Yeah, but they're
tires.
scuffs.
Yep, they're scuffs. If they don't qualify, they have to replace one of the fresh tires with a scuffed practice tire.
Ooh, that could create a major issue.
Should make some entertainment. And then for the All-Star race, we didn't really touch on it much, just very quickly. Aero package. So they're using the 2014 splitter, so high downforce. They're bringing in air ducts, which is going to create more drag in just in the front of the vehicle, bringing more air into the brake, into just the wheel wells in general. 6-inch spoiler with 12-inch dog ears and restrictor plate. So this should cause bigger slingshot capabilities. It should slow them down a bit, and
could possibly cause pack racing around Charlotte.
Yep. Which
I honestly think any way that they can make the racing more interesting, not crash worthy, just more interesting, is needed. Anything they can do. I like this tire thing. The aero package, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I have to see that part.
The spoiler is going to make a huge difference. Yeah. And the restrictor plate,
but
that spoiler is going to be great, but that restrictor plate, you ain't going but so goddamn fast.
Yeah. But the tire thing I really like.
Be decent.
I think that's going to... Because the problem with that NASCAR's having right now is it's too consistent. These cars are just too good. They're too well engineered that they're just not... They're not having any issues. Just running the whole race out, and that's it. One or two, maybe 3 cars are dominating pretty much most of the race.
And
only when there's an
Sorry, we were ready to wrap
somebody's
up.
out. But I think there was one last topic. I hate extending this podcast out any further because it's really long already. But there is one really important topic that we haven't touched on. Well, no, I gotta upload it though. NASCAR being sold. Or part of it being sold, rather.
Yep, shares of it.
Yeah.
Hostile Wagoed.
I don't think they've confirmed that yet.
No, it's confirmed that they're selling off bits and pieces. They just haven't disclosed what kind of proportions, who are people interested, things of that nature. The only thing that
there's rumors that like Comcast are.
Yeah. Disney.
I haven't seen the Disney one, but it doesn't surprise me because Disney's trying to buy up everything right now.
Mm-hmm. And
Disney's trying to expand its brand away from just cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
But they bought Marvel, and I think they're buying something else. Can't remember what the other thing was.
Yeah.
The UFC.
Yep, they bought the UFC.
Yeah.
The thing that I find to be interesting is that NASCAR is currently facing the more or less stereotypical family-owned business thing. First generation makes the company. Second generation makes the company pretty good, and then third generation, which is what NASCAR's currently in, most times than not, that family member will end up just screwing over the company, selling it for what it's worth before it will most likely than not fucking...
Rich kid don't give a shit.
Exactly. Because the second generation sees how the first generation brought up the family business and how important it is to keep it going, and the third generation's never seen, what it's like to not have something or see what it was like to truly build up to something. So I feel like this is a smart move. I just hope it's not because of the issue that I brought up of it being a third generation selling the company off before it's worth more. So, I'm just hoping that this is just more of a sensible move.
We'll see, I guess.
A little worried.
We'll have more news on that when it actually comes out, but...
Yep.
Okay, so this has been an extremely long podcast. I don't have a clue how long it is now, but it's long.
Probably shy of an hour.
We're pushing about 40 minutes, so...
Yeah. Wait, one more thing!
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, let's not do one more thing.
Who knows?
So, this... Shut your fucking dirty whore mouth. This has been the Broken Shifter Podcast. And, live
You know who we are.
on stream.
You know who we are. We don't need to do that. Let's just go.
Yeah.
We're out of here. Slam the door. Goodbye.
We're done.
Look at our Twitters. We've been changing our shit up to where we have a general account for this channel.
Bye.